everybody on YouTube. We are parenting live Q&A today. So we're here to answer any parenting questions that you might have, but I got to say, we're going to answer your parenting questions from a completely new perspective. We are looking for the parents who are willing to do what it takes to fight for the health and happiness of their child. So there's two ways to parent. While most parenting experts are out there teaching you how to get your children to comply, we are going to work with you to teach you how to raise champions. And no matter where your child is at today, diagnosed with ADHD, oppositional defiant disorder, IEP, DMDD, sensory processing, anxious, depressed, there is a cause behind the madness. There is a cause behind the breakdown of child mental health. And here's the thing. You believe that the doctors and the therapists are going to save you or save your child. And the fact is that is a lie. It's not a fact. The fact is that your therapist, your doctor, your pediatrician has no idea what the cause of these child behavior disorders are. So we have a few questions that have been sent to us throughout the week that we're going to answer today. And if you have any questions of your own, we would love to answer them. You can just go ahead and put them in the comments section and we will see them. All right. So go ahead and introduce who we are, Tom, as I'm getting organized here.
Well, if you don't know us yet, we are Bonnie and Thomas Leota. We're outside the box of what traditional parenting has been doing since 1946. You know, we've had a personal journey. Bonnie has been doing personal development for a good 20 some plus years before we met. I also was working with thousands and thousands and thousands of kids prior before we met. Our journey comes from a new perspective that's outside the traditional channels of what they call as professionals. What brought us together was when Bonnie first saw some of these techniques of guiding our genius offsprings with goal power versus telling them what to do, buying them things with strings attached, and just feeling like you could just be the be all for them. And then eventually they'd wake up one day going, I now know how to make my own bed because I made it to the age of 12. And when she saw this magic happen right in front of her, she said, wow, where did you learn that? Well, I've been working with a lot of kids that most of society gave up on. Want to know our story? We can get that to you at another time. But the long story short is you have a parenting program that the world must need to know. Now, Bonnie's got a dream that every child know that they could be a somebody before the age of 12.
Yes.
And then every mom knows that there's another option besides feeling like I don't know what to do and then feeling fearful that something might happen. And if you operate between I don't know and fear, well, where's the smiles? On your best day, they don't even show up. So we bring that third option to the table. And with that being said, we're here to help the parents that are looking to get out of the norm of what this so-called, well, they don't know what causes it, but here's something to just help you get by. There's got to be more to this game.
Absolutely. So the 4 questions that have been sent to us are, what is oppositional defiant disorder? Does oppositional defiant disorder go away on its own? Why does my 6-year-old not listen in school? And how do you handle a 7-year-old who won't listen in school? The school thing must be a big thing right now because school just started about a month ago. And we've had messages saying, you know, on the very first day of school that the parents were already getting called from the school. And here's the thing. If we keep doing what we're doing, if we keep trying to gentle parent, authoritative parenting, attachment parenting, you guys, since the beginning of authoritative parenting, do you know what's happened? All of these behavior disorders, the mental health issues for the kids have skyrocketed. Multiple 20 billion plus industries. hundreds of school gun shootings every year. And yes, I am talking about that because no parent ever in the world wishes or even thinks about, gosh, my child's 6, not listening in school. We need to punish them or do some sort of discipline. No parent ever thinks, God, in 10 years from now, my kid's going to be depressed, be anxious, hate his life, hate me, and take a gun to school and kill 20 of his classmates. But it is happening at an extraordinary rate. And that's why I'm so passionate about this whole parenting thing, because when I met Tom, my kids were heading down that path. My kids were being diagnosed with these behavior disorders. The pediatrician told me that there was basically my kids' brains were broken. Now, at the time, I was a personal development coach, going home, crying in the bathroom, living my own secret nightmare. So I've lived both sides. I can relate with you. Good morning, Angela. Good morning, Chelsea. If you're watching us, no matter where, on YouTube, on our fan page, or whatever, say hi to us in the comments. Let us know how many kids you have. Let us know what is your biggest parenting struggle. Where are you in the world? We're talking to Australia and Ireland and Jamaica and India and all over North America. Parents are dealing with the exact same things. They're living in parenting hell. And I'm going to tell you right now, parenting hell and parenting heaven, they both exist. Yes. All right. So we're going to play the truth card today. We're going to play the truth card and we're going to get you answers to your most burning parenting questions. So again, if you're just joining us, make sure to put your questions, your parenting questions in the comments. And otherwise, we're going to hit this, what is ODD, right now. Because if you go to your doctor or your therapist, if you look up online what is oppositional defiant disorder, you're going to find that if your child is displaying symptoms of defying authority, being angry, having meltdowns for no apparent reason, going out of their way to annoy the adults in the room or whatever, you're going to find this as the description for what is oppositional defiant disorder. But we're going to give you a new description today so that you can know the truth and you can actually have the power to help your children and help your situation. Because telling you that it's not your fault and it's not your parenting and we don't really know why, your child was just born angry, steals your power and all of your authority as a parent. So we want to give you this power back. But I want you, before I get into this, because we're going to talk about the voice of knowledge, and this is where our description of ODD is going to come from today.
Sure.
But you worked with a lot of these kids who were brought to your after school program.
Yes.
And so you had a reputation of fixing these kids.
No, that's what they wanted. They go, no, come here, there's something wrong with my kid. Fix him. Now, martial arts comes from a place of, well, you learn self-control, responsibility, self-discipline, focus, just to name a few of these life skills that we're not born with. And with that being said, a lot of times the parents were very attracted to it because I could say, attention, and every kid would snap right into place. Like, wow, the dictators out there, authoritarians, you know who you are, would love to just say, go make your bed. Yes, ma'am, get right on it. And then they would go. But you see, that privilege, that honor is something that you earn. It's not something that you're doing to control them. You are a guider. And there's a big razor's edge difference between the two. And so I'm going to bring this up here for you. I'd like you to ask and answer this for yourself, because when you interact with your kids, I want you to tell me, what color is this ball?
In the comments. If you're watching, post in the comments.
Right. You're going to tell me it's black. And I'm going to say it's white.
No, I can see it's black.
Right. Well, let me grab the other one. How about this one? What color is it now? It's white. You see, from perspective, your view, their view, you're both going to be correct. And it's that ability to see both sides to where you understand that their perspective and your perspective are both facts. They're both truths. And we're both willing to stand up for what we believe is true. And when you can be able to see both of them, that's when the healing, uniting, and the empowerment can actually take shape, form, and fashion. So I'd like you to look at this from two perspectives. One is, are you looking at this from a behavior lens? Or are you going to be looking at it from an educational lens? So, what is ODD? Well, that's like looking at something from a behavior lens. Well, they're oppositional. Well, what do you mean? I told them to go sit down and get their book out and read. And they said, no, don't tell me what to do. Opposition. You're telling them what you want, and you expect them just to do what you say because you're the what? The parent, the teacher, right? So the opposition is you see that as defiant because you're looking at it through a behavior lens. But if you look through it from another perspective, what if it was from an educational lens that maybe sometimes they don't know how to do something? And we would say, well, I don't want to do that or I can't. And we think that they're being oppositional. Maybe they've never been shown how to do it. Or better yet, maybe we haven't learned what's most important to them. You're pushing your agenda, which is a dictator, versus being what's most important to them and being able to guide them to it. So there's two ways to look at it. Are you looking at it through an educational lens or a behavior lens? And if you haven't put two and two together yet, anybody who says, well, they're oppositionally defiant, well, you're looking at the behavior, which is the effect, and not the root, which is the cause, because it always comes down to an educational lens.
Yeah, and here's right from the book The Voice of Knowledge. I would strongly suggest to start reading these books. Some of these parenting books, we've got if you're looking to have harmony and peace and a healthy, happy, cooperative child, it is possible to do these things, but we got to wrap our head around what is ODD. Because the second question is, does ODD go away on its own? And I'm just going to answer that with a no. ODD doesn't go away on its own. That's just like saying, hey, will my child automatically know how to drive a car when they turn 16? And that's we know that that's not a reality, right? But we're all struggling with this. I don't know what to do, and I'm lost and frustrated with my child. That's causing all sorts of stress. So I want to just say this. This is page 30. What is that? Page 33? Page 33. Okay, page 33 of The Voice of Knowledge. It's called The Lie of Our Imperfection. And he says, at home, I hear my parents say, Miguel, you have to behave this way to be a good boy, which means that if I don't behave that way, I'm not a good boy. They don't say this, but I understand this. You have to do this, this, and that to be a good boy. Then you will get a reward. And if you are not that way, you will be punished. Oops, I am too small. They are so big. I try to rebel and I fail. They win. I start pretending to be what I am not to avoid the punishment, but also to get the reward. I have to be what they tell me to be because the reward only goes to good boys. I remember trying so hard to become what they want me to be, just to have the reward of their attention, just to hear them say, Miguel, you are such a good boy. What I didn't notice behind all of the messages I hear are the silent messages that are never said, but that I can understand. And so just imagine this is your child speaking to you right now. The message is, I'm not the way I should be, and it's not okay to be me. If the message is, Miguel, you have to work hard to be a somebody, well, that means right now I am a nobody. In a child's mind, the silent message I understand is I am not good enough. And not just that, I never will be good enough because I'm not perfect. I agree. And in that moment, like most of us, I start searching for perfection. It's the lie of our
That's
imperfection.
right. And how many of us remember Pink Floyd, The Wall? There was a great album in the late 80s that came out, and it was like, hey, teacher, leave those kids alone. All in all, we're just another brick in the wall. So when you look at ODD, if the school system is conforming every child to take their individual identity and form them into what they want it to be, well, those compliant kids, there's no issues. They don't get labeled and they fit like little bricks in the wall because it's an education system right now that is developing and designed to produce workers, people to be told what to do and they do it. Now, when you get somebody who comes along that has a thumbprint that looking in the Guinness Book of World Records and go, hey, two of these never match, because if it did, it'd be right here in this book. It'd be amazing. And that kid goes, well, wait a minute. Behavior or education? You see, this child is coming to the school to say, hey, you work for me. I have a goal, a dream. I have a belief of where I want to be with my Jedi training from now until I leave the nest, usually from about 5 to 18. And I'm looking for you to show me how the world works on my terms. I have a dream to go be, and I need some life skills. And so, therefore, when you're not here for me, you're going to get what? It's the big O. Come on, say it in your head. Say it loud, say it proud. That's right. Opposition. They don't fit in the another brick in the wall. No, they want the one to be the one who built the wall. So opposition to defiant disorder is going to be a genius offspring who is a genius, embracing her own uniqueness and has an amazing gift to share with the world. It would be the opposite of conformity. This is what ODD could truly be when you want to reframe from, oh, there's something wrong to him, going, oh my gosh. Because when the kids came to me, all I saw was, you're not understood, are you? No. You have a gift. You want to be a somebody and you want them to show you how the world works, not tell you how they want you to do it, better known as imprinting. Yes. And every single child came alive and they thought I was something magical, but this is just a difference between black and white.
Now, I was in the same boat as you back before I met Tom and before I knew about creating champions for life. I was reading all the parenting books. I don't know if it wasn't called gentle parenting back then. It was called brick wall parenting. It was the same thing. You have to set boundaries, lavish your kids with attention, and have a brick wall, or have a not a brick wall, have a backbone that bends, so you could be a little bit like go with the flow with your kids. It was all about loving them. And I gotta say, I've been there. And I had 4 kids between the ages of 6 and 12. And my 6-year-old was diagnosed with the worst case of oppositional defiant disorder that the school psychologist had ever seen. And I thought to myself, Scripture says we are all created in the image of our creator, but I ended up with kids whose brains were broken. I ended up with sick kids. It just didn't make sense. Like, everything that they were telling me, that my son needed to be in the back room, in a glass room where he could just scream in there and not disturb the class, that he needed medication, that he needed therapy, and all of these things. And nothing seemed to help, you guys. And so when I met Tom, my son would go to bed every night and scream for hours. I mean, it was like, it was, if you're here in our group, if you're here on our channel, then you're dealing with a child who's defiant, because most families who find us are searching for help for their oppositionally defiant child. So I can completely relate with you. Being kind, being nice, getting on their level, looking him in the eye, explaining to him why what he did was wrong. I didn't know that deep inside his soul, he was saying it must not be okay to be me. If I have to work hard to be a somebody, then right now I'm a nobody. I didn't know that his little spirit was struggling to be and do and have the same thing as his older siblings. So I did everything that I could think of. I tried being nice. I tried yelling. I tried taking things away. I tried timeouts. I tried all of these things. And it just kept creating deeper holes in the pits of parenting hell. And I was completely lost and crying in my bathroom, like while my kids were like screaming outside the bathroom door, beating each other up. You know what I'm talking about? If you do, give us a like, give us a share our group with somebody. Share this video with somebody, because what we're bringing you here today is the truth card. And some of you might even be a little bit shocked at what we're talking about here, that it is our parenting. It is what we're doing. And so I want to tell you a story, because with my little 6-year-old, I was walking on eggshells when I first met Tom, because I was like, I didn't want to have a 3-hour screaming meltdown when I had a guest in the house. I had no idea he knew anything about kids. But I was like, Zach, as nice as I could possibly be, Zach, it's time for bed. And I knew it. He started coming up the stairs and he's like, I don't want to go to bed. And he started going into that whine. And here's where we are taught, and here's the most horrific lie in the history of parenting. Here's where we are taught to maintain our boundaries. It's okay to be upset, but it's time for bed. Like, I needed to maintain my boundary. So this is the direction that we were going to go. I knew it was going to end up in a meltdown. Like, that would have been super embarrassing. And Tom came around the corner and
I approached it from a behavior lens or an educational lens, and you got it. It would have been an educational lens. Here's just a little genius who was looking to have control of his own world. We call it goal power. What's most important to him? Hey, Zach, can I ask you a question? Yeah. Would you like to go to bed? See, I'm asking a question here. I'm asking what's important to him. Would you like to go to bed now with a story, or in 10 minutes without a story? Now, later on, come to find out, this is the very first time he's ever been asked this, and he was at age 6. Go to bed. Why? Because I told you to. And it always kept giving the same. Here's a little genius who's got a powerful spirit. I want to go to bed in 10 minutes without a story. Great. Can I ask you another question? Yeah. Do you know what 10 minutes looks like on the clock? No. Another missing life skill. Parents know it. Kids don't. We're not born with this. It's everything we learn. So I showed him the hands when it was here to here. That's when it, and lo and behold, what happened?
I thought he was pulling the wool over our eyes. If we have an oppositionally defiant child, you know what I'm talking about. Now, here we are. Here I am believing what the doctors are telling me, believing that there's actually something wrong with my kid. Tom offers him a choice. Now, here's the gold, and we might have missed it, because you can only see based on who you are and what you've been taught in the past. So I want to bring some magnifying attention to this. Here's the magic. Tom spent a few minutes of proactive attention, practicing how to tell time on the clock, believing that Zachary could learn, and believing that if he had a choice to be responsible all by himself, that he would do the right thing, that he would choose life, and he did. 10 minutes later, to the letter, Zachary comes running up the stairs. I love you. Good night. Give me a big kiss and a hug, and went to bed, and I didn't see him again till morning. And it was the first time in his entire life that there was no 3 hours of screaming at bedtime. It didn't matter if I read him a story. He didn't want the story. Are you with me? We are taught that to be a good parent, we need to do everything for our kids, and that we need to read them a bedtime story.
Lie.
So I bought him. I read him a bed. I had 4 kids, and I read them all bedtime stories every night. Come to find out, he didn't even want the story. He wanted something else. So Tom focused on goal power, and I saw cooperation. And at first, I thought, well, maybe it's because Tom's a stranger or whatever. I just thought it was fluke, just like you probably do right now, and that's okay. But every time Tom came to town, I saw more glimpses of light and more glimpses of light. And did I know how to guide behavior versus maintaining boundaries? Did I know how to guide behavior versus punishment or discipline? I didn't know what to do. And there was no book, there was no program, there was no mentoring except for I could phone Tom on the phone and ask him, what do I say now? What do I do now? So for 6 months, Tom was my translator. I would phone him and ask him, how do I get my kids to do their chores? How do I get them off the couch? How do I do this? What do I say now? And he would tell me exactly what to say. Now, there's not enough time in this live Q&A to tell you everything that I learned in that 6 months. All I want to do right now is to open your eyes to see the possibilities, to see that your child's brain is not broken, but maybe the parenting methods that we have been taught over the last 85 to 90 years or so are completely off the mark and the cause of oppositional defiant disorder. And I believe in this message so much because I've seen hundreds of children transform. We have hundreds of testimonials. We have dozens of case studies that when we teach them how to guide behavior versus punishment, validate, ask questions, show them what to do, encourage them through plan and purpose, encourage them to earn their own privileges, I've seen them rise up with my own eyes. And so there's nothing that you can say that would convince me otherwise. And I'm willing to put my life on the line for this message.
So true. So what is ODD? It's a selective process to get rid of little geniuses who are here to embrace their own uniqueness. It is a tool to select out of the group so the masses can be forced into conformity. It's a way to push a hidden agenda. And what do you do with them? Well, you can't kill them, can't get rid of them, but we can sure medicate them so they're just a little drugged out zombie. It's a way to legally get rid of rebellion, independence, truth. Now, what does ODD even like what does it say here? Does ODD go away on its own? This should almost be rhetorical right now. A big next opportunity, better known as no. No, it will not. Why? Because if it does go away on its own, then all of our offspring that everybody's producing is being shoved into another brick in the wall. That means we're losing the whole reason why we fought like tooth and nail to show up as a winning lotto ticket, 1 in a million. We all understand this. Only one sperm made it in the egg. You had to go through a 9-month obstacle course to show up in physical form. Maybe that will click. Maybe later today it will click. But does it go away on its own? Never will. It's not supposed to. So what it does go away is when they either neglect you. We call that, well, they're just a teenager rebellion. Wait till that. And then they'll just start breaking away. Or you step up, mom and dad, and you've been already labeled as a authoritarian, which is a dictator. Don't do as I do, but do as I say, my way or the highway. Or you're into that authoritative, which is the briber, which means you give them something that you know they like, but it comes with strings attached. Or you're the permissive one who just goes, you know what? I just want to do everything for them. Want them to be happy. These are those trust fund kids. This is the mom who just basically beats herself up all day long, doing. And then there's no end to it. Fill a bottomless pit. But the fourth parenting style that they have labeled all of us is the neglectful one. If you stop doing bribing, overcompensating, and dictating, your child has a chance to actually be themselves. That's when ODD can go away, is when you neglect bribing, overcompensating, and dictating.
Well, that's so true because the first thing that we get our parents to do when they join our mentorship program, the first thing we get them to do is play detective. Because what does a detective do in any kind of mystery movie, right? Do they just go, "Oh, I know it was this guy who robbed the liquor store," and they just show up at the work and go, "I don't have any evidence and whatever, but I'm going to arrest you because I think it's you," and they just correct them in the moment? They don't do that. They play detective. They write down things. This is what my child is doing. So, what we teach our clients to do is, what are the behaviors? What are the things that my child is doing right now? Oh, he left a sock on the floor. Oh, I created a boundary and he cried for 3 hours. Oh, he hit his sister. Like, not saying just to leave him hitting his sister. I'm not saying that. So don't give me a bunch of hate comments. What I'm saying is we need to make a master plan. We need to approach this thing a little bit more proactively because your child is just walking around with all sorts of missing life skills and they have no idea how the world works. They just authentically, truly believe that there is something wrong with them. And so, what happens as a human being, you, me, everybody, when we are in the presence of other people, we wear what's called a mask. Now, if you have a child who feels stupid or feels like their brain is broken or feels like they're not good enough or they'll never be good enough, I mean, how many of you felt that when you were a child that you would never be good enough for your parents who constantly corrected your behavior? We've all been there. But what I'm saying is, we as human beings from 1 to 91, we put on what's called a protective mask. And this kind of brings us into our next question, which is, what's the question, Tom?
Why does my 6-year-old not listen in school?
Right. And so these subjects are really all connected. What is ODD? It is a child who really wants to show you who they are. It's a child who needs to be guided. It's a child who needs proactive attention. Will it go away on its own? No, it won't go away on its own. We've all seen adults have temper tantrums at the customer service department. We need to practice and give our children self control. How much does this make sense? If they're angry, anxious, if they lack impulse control, doesn't it make sense that every child, no matter what the label is, no matter what they're experiencing, doesn't it make sense that every child deserves the opportunity to be shown what to do in every situation? A child's hitting their sister. Does the child deserve to know how the life skill on how to get what's important to them outside of hitting their sister? If the child is hitting their sister, we look at it from an adult brain as, oh, that's bad, and we punish it, and then we get the opposition. But if we see a child hitting their sister and we go, "Ooh, I see that you want something really important. What was it that was important to you?" And we ask questions and then we show them a more positive way to get what's important to them with life skill training and role play and proactive attention, then the oppositional defiance just kind of falls to the wayside. So why does my 6-year-old not listen in school? Well, it's this protective mask. Perhaps they don't know how to do what they're being asked to do. They're being asked now to sit in a classroom for 7 hours a day. Have we done sitting in a classroom practice at home before sending them to school? Have
Wow.
we actually done role play and practice of what it means to put your hand up before you ask a question, to ask first, what it looks like to negotiate or sit beside another student and keep your mouth quiet while the teacher talks? Have we done the role play and practice? And then the finally is, what is in it for your child to pay attention and listen in school?
Yes.
Daniel, greetings from Brazil. What an important content for family it is here. Thank you, Daniel. Welcome, and thanks for watching and taking the time to comment. You see, we're going to be here every Thursday morning doing Q&A for you, for the parents looking for solutions. In order for us to actually know what it is to help you, like the the answers to give you, it's important to engage and to ask us these questions. How can we serve you best? We are here for you. We are here to give you the truth. We are here to help you get to the other side, the light side, the loving side, the joyful side, the harmonious side, the peaceful side of parenting. Because right now, the truth is we're being duped. We are, as parents, being duped, and our children's mental health is paying the price for the lies that are being taught in parenting. They don't need to be corrected in the moment. They need proactive life skills training. And that's how we help our clients.
Yeah.
So, why does my 6-year-old not listen in school? They don't know how to.
That's it. It comes down to two simple things. It'll be so simple, we'll probably miss it or dismiss it. But this pattern has been so true since I was 19 years old. I remember this. There's only two reasons everything doesn't happen. They either don't know how or they don't want to. And we think of it as education or from internal motivation. You see, when I spent, and I've got a track record of 144,528,000 calls at Nintendo being a gameplay counselor. And people would tell me, this game's broke. It doesn't work. You guys make games on purpose that would make us have to call you for help and da-da-da-da. I'm like, well, you either don't know how to do something or is it you don't want to do what's required? And when it came down to this simple pattern, when you start seeing big numbers, you can start to see a pattern. And so Bonnie said it so perfectly. This 6-year-old legitimately does not know how to do something. And if anybody knows the Brandon story, where this boy who was in 5th grade had a 1st grade reading level, and when we took a field trip from the school to the library, just for a fun thing to go find something that you like and do some show and tell. And as we got closer, why did this kid start acting out, throwing things? Is because he's been spending the last 4 years hiding the truth that he didn't know how to read. It's not a behavior issue. If we get to the root, once that got fixed, once he learned how to read, oh man, where did the behavior go? It was never there. It's a lot of times it's a self-defense mechanism, which brings us to question number 4.
Well, before we do, I want to say, Erica, go ahead and ask your question here in the comments. I've got the comments up on my phone. So I just want you to know the comments aren't coming up here for whatever reason, but they're coming here. I want to say good morning to Melanie and Carlos. Carlos, if you're still here, can you put in the comments the difference that you see in your son who you got called from the school on the very first day, and your only goal when you started to work with us in mentorship was that your son actually have a good day in school? Just put a quick comment about the difference that you see here, because so many parents are just kind of in the dark, lost, not sure about us here at Creating Champions for Life. But I would love if you would put a comment here. And before we get to the last question, this is from the Learn to Speak Kid book. Every principle that we teach is in this book, and you can get it on Amazon, Learn to Speak Kid on Amazon.com or CA. But I wanted to just read this because your child, they see the world from a child's perspective with a child's brain, meaning they haven't had the life experiences that you've had as an adult. The reason why lectures are a lie, you can't get just down on their eye level and lecture them, is because human beings, all of us, it doesn't matter if you're 2 or 5 or 22 or whatever, we learn through experiences. Fail, first attempt in learning. And as an entrepreneur, trust me, I've worked with thousands of entrepreneurs. There's a lot to learn. You be 20, 30, 40, 50, join my business team as an entrepreneur, and I would have to actually teach them how to make a call, how to run a business, how to book a meeting, how to invite people, how to recruit. I would have to teach them step by step. Your child is just the same. It goes on to say, do you even remember what it was like to think like a child? Now, that question right there might change your life forever. Put it on a cue card, put it on a sticky note, put it on your mirror. Do I remember what it was like to be a child? That's where when we get down on their level, it doesn't mean get down on their eye level. It means get on their level. Remember what it was like to be 2, 5, 10, 12, 15, because you have the life experience and you can go back, but they can't at the age of 5 or 6 or 7 fast forward to become a 35-year-old and understand the responsibilities that you have as an adult. It says, do you remember the first time you saw a free flying, colorful, beautiful butterfly? Or the first time you laid eyes on a bumblebee? You didn't even know what any of those things were. You were excited, scared, and thrilled all at once. Do you remember the feeling? Children have the ability to believe in miracles. They have the ability to see good things happen. It is inherent in human nature to desire to advance, achieve more, and be productive. And so when I see oppositional defiant disorder, or really any behavior or mood disorder, it's because we have been taught as parents to hover, to helicopter, to be, do, and have everything, to save our children. But really, your children are praying, begging, longing for leadership. They want to show you who they are. They want to look at you and say, "Look at me. I did that all by myself." They're craving more responsibility. And so I'm going to look at the
Okay,
comments.
I'll cover
You
this
move
one.
on to how to handle a 7-year-old.
All right. So, how do you handle a 7-year-old who won't listen in school? Well, let me just ask you this here. Congratulations for validation of being active in your child's life versus neglecting them. That's beautiful. We would call this like a neutral, like you're engaging, you're active. Now, just like a heads to a coin or even a black and white, there's going to be a positive or a negative. In this case, would you say this question is being asked from which kind of mindset? A proactive or a reactive? So the root word is active. Would you put pro or re in front of it? Now, if I'm like you or you're like me, you're going to go, oh, well, since you asked me to think rather than just react, how do you handle a 7-year-old who won't listen in school? Ding, 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 ding. That sounds reactive. You see, we can spend all day long reactive, but that detective work that Bonnie already placed a clue with you and go, huh, well, let's see. He won't listen. He either doesn't know how to listen, which is a missing life skill. We're not born with it. Or he doesn't want to because it's not in alignment with his internal genius spirit, who was promised that somebody would see my genius and show me how the world works, not how you want me to do it. Dramatic pause for our thinkers to go, thank you. Or this guy's full of spiritual harmony and great until I hate him.
I've hated Tom a lot of days too.
So when you go in and be like, well, let me tell you about the detective work. If you came to me and be like, yeah, this kid won't listen in school, I'd be like, huh. Little Timmy, do you even know why you're in school? Because they tell me to. So I'll look at that back as no. Do we know what the inevitable is? That means it's coming whether you know it or not, which is called from birth to about age 18. The inevitable means that every animal in the animal kingdom that bears offspring is born and launches out of the nest. And when we can actually go to our very first principle in our Learn to Speak Kid course, it's knowing our role as a parent. Let me ask you, the inevitable is they are going to leave. Now, if you still live with your parents, well, okay, I didn't think so. So now the inevitable is coming. The question now becomes, are you pro active, or are you preparing them, or are you postponing the inevitable? Preparing for the inevitable or postponing the inevitable? And it gets this crystal clear as black and white. There is no gray. So if you are preparing them, then we would start to go, we asked that 25th letter in the alphabet that we all asked. No exceptions here. Why? Get an answer. Why? Get an answer. Why? Get an answer. And pretty soon it's like, stop asking so many damn questions and just shut up. That's the way it is. Oh, well, maybe we lost the whole thing, because if you were there to prepare them, why are you even in school? I don't know. Well, there's no vision, and people without vision will perish. People with a vision prosper. So when they would come to the program, be like, well, why are we here? We have a big picture dream. Do you know that our whole purpose of you that bear the offspring, they're not your kids. It's called ownership. They picked you as their big kid trusted advisor to guide them through their life skills list and launch. And when you can get into that mindset, you'll never ask these types of questions ever again, because you would be like, well, that doesn't make any sense. The child has a passion. What do you want to be when you grow up? This is outside of the nest. I want to be a fireman, astronaut. You get the point. That's the goal. Then the plan would be, we've got some life skills to learn, and here's a list of 144 of them. And by going to school, you're going to learn how to add. You're going to learn how to write. You're going to learn how to do social. The list goes on. But now they have a passion and a purpose to be there, because their mind is on the bigger picture. When we lose the vision, you get caught in this reactive mode. And then pretty soon it's negative plus negative. Well, you tell me, negative plus negative. I see something I don't like, I tell them can't, don't, won't. When does this ever come together in equal positive? Hint, hint, wink, wink. I'll wait as long as you can. And the smart ones that are thinkers will go, oh my gosh, my mind just blew up. I just had an aha moment. I finally had the truth. It all makes sense. Get out of the matrix game that is rigged for you to lose, and step out and neglect all of these parenting styles and show up what we would call the positive plus positive. Some people are even being able to see it, that it's heaven here on earth. Everything as common side effects are guaranteed to heal, unite, and be empowered, because our job is to help them be who they chose to be. And you will be the first in your family lineage to make this change. You will not be able to go to your mom or dad or anybody in your family and go, what do you think about this stuff? They're going to go, because they never saw it. But you've got a chance to shift it.
Yes.
And that's the ones that we're looking for.
Absolutely.
Proactive.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Sorry. 2 kids, 1 water fountain. Daniel says, I have an aunt who failed in providing her children some values and principles for life. And as a result of that, her granddaughter grew up being a rebel kid, giving her a lot of trouble and stress. That is so true. And I want to say this, Tom, and a 5-year-old or a 6 or a 7-year-old might not know what they want to be when they grow up, but they do know what they want to do when they go home. So I want you to think about this. When we ask, what is in it for your child to blank? And in this case, it's what is in it for your child to listen in school? You get up every day and you go to work. Why? Because somebody makes you, or you'll get in trouble? No, you get up every day and you get ready and you go to work because you need a paycheck, because you know that you need a paycheck in order to pay the rent. Life is life. Sowing and reaping. They go to school. That's called sowing. What are they going to reap? Sowing and reaping. I go to school. It opens up the Pandora's box and I get to play video games when I get home, and that's my paycheck. So I want you to you're not going to get this all right here, right now. But you will get it over time if you stick with us. and you hang out in our community and you read the Learn to Speak Kid book, or you join one of our mentorship programs so we can lock arms with you and guide you. And let's answer this question before I read here. Erica says, my 5-year-old does this thing where she wants to do something, usually something simple like put something away, grab a receipt from cashier, but then won't just do it and will have a full-blown horrible meltdown when we go ahead and do it. Oh, when you go ahead and take over and do it. Okay. This is almost a daily thing. Any insight on how to handle this? This is just a small thing on our ODD journey, but man, oh man, it can be tough. And I can totally relate with that. I know how tough it can be. We're going to give you a whole brand new perception. So do you have an image on what's going on here? She wants to grab a receipt, but then won't like do it. And then when they grab the receipt, then the 5-year-old has a meltdown.
She wants to grab it.
She wants to do it, but then doesn't.
doesn't. And somebody does it before her or for her.
For her.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Before her or for her. Exactly.
Patience. Yeah. How long is that going to take? I'm telling you right now, your patience is probably slim or none, because the processing speed of the little genius offspring is about 10x or 100x compared to your conditioning and training. The fact that you are unable, yet to sit there and hold what we would call the vortex, hold a sacred space for them to process, which takes forever in the adult world. But a big kid trusted advisor knows this to be the truth. Waiting. She's taking forever. It's been 10 seconds. Shut up.
Or a minute or 2 minutes or whatever.
Waiting. And if it took 3 minutes for you to hold that space, for them to process, and then go,
oh my God, I'm going to cry.
And it's the fact that we either don't know this or we don't want to do it is the truth. You see, we don't practice what to do in a fire escape plan when the fire's here. You're never going to correct in the moment. Stupid. But what you do is you detective work and go, my gosh, man, we never even practice what it means to go into a store full of colors and shapes and say, don't touch. In the moment. We never even practiced going to a store, going to a park, rehearsing anything and everything prior to even going. Proactive. Yes, it takes a lot more time up front. But then when I could take up to 100 kids to a downtown Seattle amusement area with me and just a few other moms as chaperones, and they're like, how do you do that? And I would say, well, we practiced before we came, got really proficient at it. So all the things that would have already came up, like impulse, and we established what was called self-control prior to coming, right over their head, because they never even seen this before. But if you did, you would have the same results. You just go in there with the briber, the authoritative. I'm going to take the kids. They're going to be so much fun and they're going to love me. That parenting style is a briber. They give something that they know that they're going to like, and it comes with the strings attached. It's backwards. And I mean that with love. Give yourself permission that you didn't even know that you didn't even know, because in 1946, when they launched this campaign to get you here, it transformed as fast as, if anybody knows, the frog in the water, change the water 1 degree, the frog acclimates 1 degree over time, acclimates, and pretty soon, over days, weeks, or months, it's acclimated so much it has no power to actually get out or fight its way out of a wet paper bag. And that's where the moms have been conditioned to. It's been done over generations. So when I say you will be the first in your family lineage to destroy, disrupt, and dismantle this hypnotic curse that is no longer serving me or my kids' future, and be that rebel to stand up and say, hell no, we won't go, and be the one that the kids asked to show them how the world works. So in this case, I can see how you're doing it. You're taking your time. You're thinking about this out, and you wait and you wait. And when they did, we call this principle number 2, kids' brains versus parents' brain. When I can work on their speed versus asking them to work on my speed, everything heals, unites, and is empowered. Can you take 3 hours to go to the shopping center? If you can't, don't go. If you can, then you're showing them at their speed. It is a game changer, and those who are on it, they'll never go away. They'll never go back, but you've never seen it before. And that is the God honest truth. I'm done, Bonnie.
Yeah, that was pretty powerful. I actually feel extremely emotional right now. How different will the world be when every mom and dad in the world gets this? When we become our child's trusted advisor, when we stop trying to manage their behavior or control their actions, when we can come side by side with our children and we can see through their eyes, not just get on their level and make eye contact, but authentically see through their eyes. So we have a 16-month-old granddaughter, and they're like, I get it. You pull a diaper and the baby runs away, right? So we play this game. So what I'll do is I will take the diaper and I will say, I got the diaper and pajamas. I got the diaper and pajamas. Ready to get in the diaper and pajamas. And she'll run away and I'll just sit there. And I have the diaper and I have the pajamas. And the other day we actually had Thanksgiving. There was 13 people here. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll get her in her pajamas and then we'll send her home. So I go get the pajamas. She runs away. And I'm like, I follow her and I come downstairs and I'm just holding this diaper and pajamas. And I just sit on the floor, right? I just sit on the floor. And in less than 2 minutes, she comes over and I'm like, have a seat. We'll change the diaper. And she sits on the floor and she reaches for my hand and she leans back and she works with me to change the diapers and she gives me her leg. We put on the pajamas. But if I just said, let's get our pajamas, and she went to run away and I grabbed her, we're putting our pajamas on now because it's my job to maintain a boundary and you need to put your pajamas on. What would have happened, do you think? While you're putting your answer in the comments, and yes, I'm asking you to engage because I want to read. What do you think might have happened? Erica says, thank you guys. And our pleasure. Go practice that and come back next week and let us know how it worked. Right here in chapter 1, we begin to make a game plan. And this is what we're going to be asking you to do. I want you to see the possibility. Every child, no matter what they're labeled, no matter what you're dealing with, no matter how bad it is, no matter how old they are, it is possible to create harmony and peace and happiness and joy, no matter what, straight up. That's what we're working for. What do you want to see more of as a parent? If you just want to have tools to control your child so that they completely comply and they sit in a corner and they do whatever you tell them to do, this is not the program for you or the group or the YouTube channel. Right here, we're going to ask you to begin to create a game plan. During the first 2 years, your baby will have certain milestones that should be achieved. There will be strategies you can use to help your baby develop confidence, strength, and thought patterns, which is an example of what I just shared with the whole diaper changing, allowing her to process what's going to happen next, allowing her to lead the way, allowing her to do it on her time clock versus me forcing her to do it on mine, which is what you were just talking about here. When your baby is about 1 or 2, you can begin to empower their newfound independence rather than fight it. By age 5 to 8, it's critical to your child's future success to begin an authentic transition to more independence. What are some basic things that you want them to be able to do? Make that list now. And we're going to stop there today because the brain can only accept so much information at one time.
Can we share one last thing?
We can share one last thing before we wrap up
I
today.
have watched this countless times, and I understand morals, ethics, safety. I've heard everything underneath the sun. So I want to validate that point so you're also heard. But just observe moving forward for yourself that when a little toddler or like a little baby or just someone who's in that thing just doing something and they fall down. We were in the grocery store, and Harley Faith, before even right after the first year, she's already starting to push that cart. And as she'd be bopping around, she'd fall. And without any conscious thought, almost like a natural reaction, like say the safety card. How many people in the whole grocery store would go, oh, and just somehow be sucked in like a black hole or a gravitational pull and want to come to the rescue? And I would say, excuse me, hold it. Vortex, hold it. I'm holding this sacred space. Yes, my speed, fall down, pick them right back up. Or let them fall down, wait for it. She's down there. She's processing. Oh my gosh, what would it take? 10, 20, 30 seconds? Oh, an eternity in the adult world. And she stood back up on her own as if the best drug in the world from the inside out, going, look what I just did all by myself. I'm here to train for my independence.
Yes.
Rather than fall down, pick them up. Who's training who? Dependence or independence? At the end of the day, it's going to be black or white. There is no gray. We love you either way. And with that being said,
well, I love that. And I just want to say, if you're watching this and you had some mind blowing aha moments, and you're just wondering, okay, what do I do next? I put a link in the chats. Want to take the next step? Let's chat. Let's have a 15-minute discovery session so I can discover where you are and where you want to go. And we can help you put together a master plan for peace, harmony, and happiness. We actually call it healing, uniting, and empowering, the 3 segments of creating champions for life. If we're going to make a change in our family and for your children and your children's children, we must come together and really get this concept. We must release all of the old beliefs that are not serving us or our family now. And we must, and this is only for those who want to have peace, harmony, and happiness. I mean, if if you want to have power struggles and arguments and deal with what you're dealing with, chaos, and be a victim, keep doing what you're doing. Keep reading the parenting books. Keep doing authoritative parenting. Keep doing everything for your kids. We're talking to the moms who want empowerment, to the moms who have been moms and dads who have been praying for an answer, who want to know what to do for the healing, uniting, and empowering. That's who we're here for. If that's you, we welcome you with loving open arms. You're in the right place at the right time with the right people. Melissa said, thank you. This was so helpful. Absolutely, Melissa. Angela said, amazing. This is amazing. We could be here all day. We're going to wrap up. If you do have more parenting questions that pop up on the content about your kid, whether you're just meeting us and you have a generic question, anything goes. We will be back next week at 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. We were a little early today because we have an event that starts right away that we need to attend. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of our community. We love you guys. We are here for you and your family. And until we meet again, here's to our parenting success.
Cheers.
Bye for now, everybody. Have a great week.